One. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Automation. I'm a bit confused. Eurostar, Eurostar 2025, reporting from Edinburgh. And I have here with me one of the, I would say, most biggest heroes here in these hallways that you will walk into.
That's too much honor, that's too much honor.
No. Here, my amigo Bart. Oh yeah, there's a Jenga in front of us, like this tall. And if you see us jumping, it's because someone failed the Jenga test. But Bart Knaack, just...
Yes.
I always am curious if I'm not going to butcher the name or anything.
That's okay.
So I have here with me our amigo Bart Knaack, who, where did we see last? Automation Star or ATD?
Like I think ATD.
I think it was ATD. So, yeah, you know, you will also see him running around the conference floor, giving trainings, talks. You pretty much just ran from
we were just doing the community stage.
5 minutes ago, so wow. True rock star here. So, amigo Bart, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, well, of course, being back in Edinburgh, I've lived here for a year, so it feels like coming home. Mm-hmm. And well, when you're in Edinburgh, of course, you have to drink whiskey. So after 2 nights, I'm a bit knackered, but other than that, I'm doing fine.
Okay. Any good whiskey recommendations from around here?
There's too many. It depends on your taste. There's so many different tastes of whiskey. For me, a Highland Park really is one of the top notches. But then again, if you're in the more smoother whiskies, you go for a Dalwhinnie, for instance. So there's a lot of different whiskies to taste.
And there's actually some events here where you can go just whiskey tasting, I have heard.
Oh yes, and I think there's over 200 single malt Scottish whiskies, so there's a lot to taste. And that's without counting all the years. So for instance, Macallan has 12, 14, 16, 18-year-olds, and they're all different. Whiskey lovers, definitely come to Edinburgh. And sounds like you should hang out with Bart to go around the good spots. Amigo Bart as well, for the ones that do not know you before we get deeper into whiskey culture, would you mind introduce yourself? Who are you? What do you do? What makes you special? What makes me special? What makes me special is that I tend to just take on any challenge and see if I can wing it. So I've been doing a lot of different stuff in different places just by being curious and saying, okay, I've never done this before, so I probably cannot do it, but let's try. It's a kind of...
fake it till you make it?
Something like that. It's a pioneering spirit that you have to try new stuff and to fail.
Yeah.
But sometimes you succeed, and that's good.
No, and as long as from the failure you get a little bit of learning, understanding,
feedback,
it's a good experiment, failed experiment, but
to fail is not bad. Not to learn from your failure, that's bad.
Oh boy, you need to have that on a sign, right?
A small tile.
Walk around with it. So, as well, amigo Bart, we already mentioned, I've seen you on conference floors and in events. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, well, I actually started to do conferencing in 2004 at Eurostar in Cologne at that point.
21 years now. Who's counting?
21 years ago. Yeah. And actually that was my first ever conference, and of course I enjoyed it and liked it, and it gives you a buzz, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a good talk and you get good feedback, but you have to realize that it's not about you, it's about your audience. So that is always a kind of difficult thing to overcome. It's not you that should shine, it's the audience that should learn. Mm-hmm. And once you cross that bridge, you actually become much better. So, and in 2008, the conference Drinks, I had a talk with James Lindsay, also at Eurostar in The Hague at that moment. And we just coined the term test lab and made it happen the year after. So that's kind of, getting into trouble and then seeing if you can get out of it. That's my deal.
That's a cool thing that if you didn't know, you have one of the evil geniuses brains behind the test lab. Yes. The original test lab. We will have James later today here also. We're going to extract some information.
Right. 2009 in Stockholm was the first one.
And what did you pull up for that one? How did you manage?
Well, we didn't know what the test app was going to be. So James and I had, during the year, a number of conversations. What are we going to do? And what we decided upon was to have a number of laptops with software for people to actually test. So the people could come in and we could give them we had handouts where we said, well, these are heuristics, or these are things you can try on these machines. And we offered the machines and we offered the logins and stuff like that, and people could just test. But what we tried to get people to do, and that actually worked, well, sometimes better than other times, is to bring someone with you. So you can test together, so you can learn from what the other one is doing in testing on the same machine.
Because we have heard about pair programming, the benefits, pair testing as well. You get a lot of benefits.
Because you see how the other person approaches the same problem. And you might get inspired by, hey, you're doing it like that, that's different, but I like it. Or you could say, well, you do it like this, but I do it like that, and you inspire each other. So actually pair testing makes sense.
It's a virtuous loop, right?
Yeah.
Good feedback loop. And so that was the very, very first lab. Do you remember anything? Because I know that's not the only thing that you do at the test lab. Any cool thing or element that you're particularly proud or that is outstanding for you from activities in the test lab?
Yeah.
She's already laughing, thinking of cool stuff.
There's too much going on in my mind now. We did a lot of cool stuff. One of the really nice things we had at some point was we had Jonathan Bach testing something and James Bach standing behind him explaining what he saw his brother doing.
Oh wow,
So
that sounds epic.
Yeah. So and that was interesting because Jonathan is a good tester, but James is really good at explaining what he was seeing being done there. That was a really cool session, and we at some point, I think it was in, I'm not sure which one it was, I think it was somewhere in the Netherlands, we had a bug hunt where 100 people joined in to do bug hunting, and that was weird. That was like way over our head because we had counted on 10 people joining, and suddenly there were 100
How do you
people.
even manage with all?
Well, we couldn't, but we did. Yeah, you know, that's getting yourself into trouble and then trying ways to get out of it.
Cool. I mean, and I have seen variations of the test lab. I'm sure that this was, that's why I usually ask, like, hey, what is the coolest thing that you like and the experience? Oh, another one coming.
Well, one of the weird things is that at some point I said, let's put some puzzles on the wall, right? Just like sequencing, what is the next number, or a riddle or something like that, just as decoration. And we found out that 90% of the people that came into the test lab did the puzzles. Didn't do the testing, the real testing on laptops. They were all looking at the puzzles because
trying to figure out.
Yeah, we're almost immediately, well, interested in something like a puzzle because we want to solve it. That's how our brain works, right? You see a puzzle, you want to solve it.
I remember the first time that I saw the puzzles, I felt like an archaeologist looking like trying to figure out what is this message, what is happening. It pulls you right away.
It pulls you in. And it's very low key. So anybody can join in, and then people want to have hints and stuff like that. And so it's very low key, it's very easy to get into, and it's very enticing.
Nice.
People want to be there, people want to see it.
I love it. I mean, one of the brains behind all this, if you ever get to a test lab, a STAR conference, you will see it happening all over the place. It's right in the middle.
Yeah, it's right in the middle.
Yeah, if we could see behind this, you would be seeing the action. But
what you now see in the test lab is it has evolved. James and I did it for 4 to 5 years, and then we handed it over to the next set of people.
It's your baby, but now it's walking along.
Yeah, it's moving along, and I actually I don't recognize the baby anymore, but that's okay. That's how it goes, and I'm glad that it actually has gone beyond what we did with it, because that means actually it's got some traction and people are interested in doing it.
No, it's thrilling and exciting. I'm super happy to have learned where that came from. And well, amigo Bart.
You want to know something else? I was an evil genius behind?
Bring it on.
The Rising Star Award.
Nah.
Again, we started it off, we did it for 2 or 3 years, and now it's taken off, and I'm not involved anymore. Yeah, I'm one of the judges, but I'm not actively participating in it anymore. But that's what I like to do, to just kick an idea into the world and see how it grows and see what happens there.
That's what you were saying at the beginning, just like start failing or start experimenting.
Start experimenting. Some experiments will fail. Some experiments will fail miserably, but that's okay, as long as you learn from them.
If you keep trying, you keep pushing new stuff, something cool is going to come out of it. It will grow legs and start walking on itself. So it'll be really, really cool. Super, super happy about all those initiatives. But that's not the only thing that you do at conferences. And what have you done in this one?
I did a training, a workshop together with Tanya and Huip on puzzles. I gave a presentation on QA and AI. It's more than just testing. I ran the community stage today. And of course tonight we have the gala dinner.
Yeah. Do we have anything special at the gala dinner?
Well, as always, we have the Testing Excellence Award, we'll have the Rising Star Award, we'll have the Best Paper Award, stuff like that. And it's going to be a beautiful place. The National Scottish Museum really is one of the coolest places I've ever been to. I lived in Scotland for a year, so I've been there a number of times. But it's a really nice building, good architecture, and the exhibition is brilliant.
So you approve it, certify, it's going to be an awesome experience.
It's going to be an awesome experience, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, dealing a little bit into your activities, would you mind spoiling a little bit what were them about, the tutorial, and to invite the people to get them excited on what was it about, not to give it out, or what you were doing a bit earlier. Right. What does it consist on?
Well, most of the things I do are experience-based. So I have an experience, I say, okay, this is something that I want other people to know about. And of course, if it fits in a theme like AI in this case, that's interesting.
We'll get into that.
Right. I've been working on AI together with James to do workshops on how to test a Gen AI or how to do TDD using an AI, stuff like that. So, and actually we're having a next one, how to build your own small test tools using AI as well. So, if you want to have a comparator or what they call a matcher or something like that, or if you want to compare two files and they're big and you don't want to do it manually, how do you make a small, quick test tool, not really a test tool, to do that for you? So automate those tedious tasks that you have to do as a tester, not necessarily being the test itself, but for instance, comparing two files. You have an output file, you want to compare it to another output file. Are they the same? Do they contain the same patterns and stuff like that? So that's what we're working on at the moment.
I think that's genius because instead of asking the AI to do the comparison for you, you are more asking, build a tool for me that quickly will help me, because that's something that drives me crazy.
Then it becomes deterministic, right? If you ask an AI to do it, it will say yes today and no tomorrow. If you ask AI to write you a tool to do it, first of all, you can actually check the tool and see if it does what you need to do.
You verify the tool,
and then actually it's a deterministic tool which you can use all over again.
And you stop wasting AI cycles, because just running those things is kind of, you may not see it, but computer-wise it's expensive.
Yeah, so. And if you run the same tool 10 times, you save a lot of effort instead of using the AI 10 times to do the same thing.
No, I mean, performance, that drives me crazy, that you're transmitting all the information all the time. And No. Have a tool, make AI build a tool for you, and then run with the tool. Love it, super awesome. And speaking of AI, amigo, there are some changes, some situations that we have been experiencing and seeing. How do you feel, other than making AI develop the tools for you, how do you feel and what other things have you been playing around with AI?
Well, like I said, we've been doing workshops on how to test Gen AI. So for instance, a regression AI or a, how do you call it, classification AI. But we have to realize that AI still is a statistical method. So it's not true intelligence. It's just predicting what should have been there based on a huge, vast amount of inputs, right? And because it looks like it's intelligent, we try to attribute intelligence to the system. But it really is not. It's just a statistical system which gives you the most likely answer to your question. And that's...
It's just a very good binary tree telling you which one.
Yeah. But I love playing around with AI. At the same time, I realized that playing around with AI also takes a lot of energy and a lot of resources that you might want to use for other stuff. And what I really dislike is people using AI for stuff which they could have used a conventional tool for. Yeah. I hear people saying, I use AI to see what kind of nice cycle rides I can do in nature. And I'm like, well, we have other tools for that that are deterministic, probably give you better routes, and at least do not confabulate or hallucinate or something like that. So you actually get a ride which is a real ride, and for far less cost. So in that sense, I think people should realize that there are alternatives to what they do. There actually is a website now that's called There Is an AI for That. I would love to have to see the website, there's an alternative for this AI. Because,
wow. Yeah.
you know, if there's alternatives out there which are way less costly and probably do the job as well or even better than an AI can do it.
And it's a conversation that we were having yesterday as well that came up, that people are just in the backend plugging AI stuff, just trying to make it AI worthy or AI enabled, whatever. Everyone is in the AI craze. I'm not sure everything should be plugged with AI in the backend and be calling APIs for GPT.
And this morning we had a really nice keynote with someone doing mutation testing and using an LLM to actually create intelligent mutants. And that's where it's really good at, and I understand that you want to use it for that.
And especially for mutation, that's a good point.
Yeah, so it was Mark Harmon that actually gave that talk. And that was a really interesting idea, and I can really see how that helps. But letting an AI determine what the weather will be next week, really?
No, I have.
We have a weather app for that.
I know people that started to build MCPs and calling the LLMs and all the connections. And hey, what's the weather now? Really?
Really.
Pull
Look
your
outside.
phone, click the weather app, look outside.
Look outside. Yeah, there's a window.
I think that's something that drives me a little bit nuts, that people right now are not aware of the resources needed for just.
Right.
I saw a comment on a blog like saying, do you know how many CPU cycles have been wasted on just responding to thank you for that answer, and then it says, you're welcome. Like, okay. I mean, it's good to be like polite with our future overlords or something like that. But be mindful as well of what you're doing, right?
Yeah. I think our future overlords will not look at our current LLMs as being their master or something like that, but okay.
You mistreated my great-great-grandpa.
Yeah, something like that. But we should be very aware where to use AI and where not to use AI. And to be honest, if I look around at the expo over here, there's a lot of tool vendors saying we now have AI-enabled test case generation. And I'm like, really? Do we really need that? Or could we do that in a different way?
Yeah, then sometimes I twist my head, like when you talk to your pets, like, why?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
So we know there's a lot of mishandling, misuse, overuse of AI right now. What do you see coming for the future and QA in general?
Well, you know the term vibe computing, where people, or vibe programming, where people are just using an LLM to write code if they have no clue how to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And that means that this code will be flaky at best. and if we want to do stuff like that, we want to put something like that into production, a lot of testing is needed. So I think the more we are going to trust on AI to actually build the systems, the more experienced / complicated tests we have to do to actually make sure that that code is valid. Can we do that with another AI? An AI testing an AI? Maybe we can, but I think we need to have somehow a human judgment in there. So have a human-assisted AI or something like that. So that we actually have the true critical thinking, which is very hard to actually teach a machine to do. Like I said, it's just a statistical method to see what's the most common. So it's not true intelligence, and critical thinking is true intelligence, and that's going to be our role, to keep that critical thinking going.
And you're bringing it that there's not going to be less QA, much more QA. As you say, I have a feeling that vibe coding will give us so much job to do for us testers.
Yeah.
Critical thinking. Don't think that it's going to replace us. It's just going to ask more from us nowadays, and we're going to be busier.
It's also going to be asking different stuff of us, right? Yesterday I said in my talk, QA and Gen AI or QA and AI is more than just testing. We also have to be experts in training data, verification data, test data. We have to look at confusion matrices. We have to look at what are the false positives and the false negatives, and what are the consequences of these false positives and false negatives. Is this a problem we should actually be dealing with AI? So we also in the design phase also already have to look for, are there alternatives, or is there stuff that we should not want to do with an AI because of the consequences of false positives or false negatives? So that's going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, I think as well having the knowledge, or I think QA we have always been liaisons between subject matter experts and the tested system, and being the intermediaries. Very, very good inputs part. So now we are almost out of time, and I would like people to have an opportunity to reach out to you, to get in touch.
Okay.
Where can people find you?
I'm gonna mostly be found on LinkedIn. I'm an old-fashioned guy. I don't do Instagram and stuff like that. So
no TikTok.
LinkedIn,
come on.
LinkedIn is the LinkedIn is my primary resource, and you can find me there. My handle is BTKNAACK.
Look for it. You see there in the corner of the screen. His name is written, so that you can type it better. Yep. And Bart, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
You're welcome.
Very, very good. So everybody, that was our friend Bart Knaack, and this is not over. We're just starting. This is going to be a really, really packed day, full of interviews, fun, knowledge, and peculiar questions, and awesome stories from the past. The brain father of the Tesla wall. Amigo, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. And for now, adios. Take care. Adios, Bart.
Adios.